Okay, Allison, let's see how you did.
Morning, everybody. As you can see, I put the Star Spangled Banner on your stands. We have been asked to play that at a recent event that's coming up, so we're getting ready. First of all, I just want to get a concert pitch from you guys on a concert deep line. I just want to get a sit down pitch this morning. This is a little simple.
Okay, good. I like the way that you start out with just a common pitch before you begin. That's a great idea, particularly, no matter what age group you're working with.
Okay, let's play our
Okay,
first note of.
the only thing that I would do differently about that, Allison, is once, they play a couple of pitches or a pitch, to sustain it, just to kind of get some air going through the horns, single out your person that has the best tone quality or best sound. Let them play that pitch and then have everybody come in afterwards so they can match that. And not only talk to them about matching the intonation, but as far as tone quality and tone production value, if you find the best player in the class, use them as an example. It's going to make them even be better because they're going to think, oh my gosh, I sound good. It's going to give them some confidence. But it also make the other kids want to be the one that you choose next time.
Okay, everybody hold the first note. And I don't even have any problems. Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay. What's the problem?
nothing.
Let's do that first note again. Here
I'll
we go.
guess it later. I get this.
Okay. Now, did you notice that, Allison, how they didn't come in with you? It's because you didn't give them a good prep. The first time you gave them a great prep and they could breathe with you and you actually took a breath with the ensemble. Make sure you always give them a good prep, breathe, and then bring them in. And that way, it just makes you look more confident as a conductor, and also it gets them in the habit of doing the same exact thing every time you want to make them start making a sound.
Good, good.
Okay, and also look. I hate to be so picky, but look at your cutoff as well. Watch how we do that. Make sure you give a solid cutoff. But see, you kind of just went down to your sides. Give a solid cutoff, freeze, and then go on down.
Good, good. Let's play the first little segment here. We're going to play the pick up into the first measure and play the first two beats of the second measure. Everybody with me? Pick up, and then we're going to play the first full measure and the
Okay,
first back.
good instructions. But just see if you can give them eye contact, while you're talking to them. That'll help, and that'll make sure that, whenever they're looking at you and you see them looking back, you know that they're listening. Yeah, that was a good sustaining, good cutoff there.
Okay. Let's keep
The
it.
only thing I would think about as you get closer to getting to doing this for real, as you conduct, you'll want to get the kids used to just seeing you conduct with the right hand only, and use the left hand, for other instructions like cues, dynamics, and stuff like that. That way you won't get in the habit of mirroring, like a drum major every time you get up to conduct. And that's a tough thing for a lot of us to break.
Copy. Got it. Next little. Here we go. Give me 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Good. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. The very next thing, the pick up into the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth full measure, and that next half one. Everybody see what I'm talking about?
Okay, I totally understand you taking small segments. I think that's a great idea, particularly with a younger group. One suggestion I'd like to make, and you may want to put this in long-term memory just to think about it, as you add a new section on, instead of just starting at the beginning of the new section, if you go back to the beginning again, once as you've perfected or tried to correct those sections as much as possible, always go back to the beginning and just add on. That way they're always getting rehearsal time on stuff you've already taught them, and it's not new stuff. Okay, does that make sense? So at the end of this segment, if you want to add in a fourth segment, say, okay, we're going to start at the beginning again. This time I want you to add on the next 4 measures. And then if they're incorrect, then just work on those 4 measures and then go back to the beginning and put it all together. That just kind of helps you get some cohesiveness from beginning to end.
2.
And see, it eliminates problems like that happening when we break up small segments, a lot of times that does get confusing unless they have every measure marked on their piece of music, and it saves you some rehearsal time.
Measure one more time, or that a little segment. I just want this half of the room, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Okay, and just make sure that you address that trumpet sound. When you hear those things, you'll want to get, and I know that 1,000 things are going through your mind when you're up in front of a group for the first time. But when you hear those little things, don't be afraid to just stop and say, okay, let me hear the trumpet by himself. And just identify the problems that he's having and see if you can correct those before you go on to something else.
Yes, we're going to measure 1, 2, 3. There's 4 full measure. Pick up some. Okay. Okay, let's keep moving. You guys see the next segment? It's the pick up into the very last little phrases. Pick up into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Seeing this eliminates you having to count measures and all that too, if we just add on as we go.
Yes. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Good. Let's take them. Here we go. I'll give you 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Okay, and I see your method. There's definitely nothing wrong with that, but that would just help you to make them improve quicker if you just keep adding on instead of just doing the little bitty segments. And like I said, it'll cut down on confusion. Also, Allison, one thing I'd like to see you do is strengthen yourself in areas that you feel uncomfortable with, like going up and correcting the tone quality of a saxophone player or a flute. If you feel a little bit less confident in those areas than others, when you go out and do your practicum, find you a junior high school or high school where the band director does a really good job at teaching his beginner band or the middle school band, and listen to them and the little tricks that they have whenever they do, teach the younger children, the woodwind techniques or the little things that they may have to get the squeaks to stop happening. You want to try to get as much of that stuff as you can before you get out of college. And, it's much better to do it now while we're in a safe environment than you getting out there on your own and then having to learn it yourself. So really use those practicum hours when you go out. I know it's a lot of them, but you can really use them to your benefit if you, just think about it and just think about your weaknesses. And that's the whole thing that you want to improve on when you go out, okay? All right, good job. I hope that this helped, and I look forward to our next assignment.